This is Placed on the 55, a weekly podcast focusing on sports betting in the CFL. Here are your hosts, Jon and Jess. Hey Jess, welcome back. What a week last week. The BC Lions, they did it.
They did. Lions look good. Man, I actually had a pretty good week last weekend. Boy, did I need that. How are we looking on the year's record so far?
So far, I'm sitting 30-26. Went 1-3 last week. And I'm burying the lead here. You, Jess, are 26-30. You went 4-0.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you very much. You've got at least 1-4-0 under your belt this year, haven't you?
I don't. No, the best I've done is 3-1.
Yeah, and you had a ton of those.
I mean, you've got 2 0-4s, but finally, one of us has gone 4-0. It's great.
Yeah, and the Lions, man, they took a step in the right direction. They really looked for real. Came out and beat Montreal at home. I think they looked awesome.
Were you surprised by the decision to go with Rourke and not Vernon Adams? I mean, he's healthy.
No, they said they were going to keep it with York. What I am surprised is that the Lions are apparently going to keep Adams, which is great if they can afford it. And if Adams is cool with it, when it appears like he is, then we'll have a really awesome quarterback tandem heading into the playoffs.
How about the triple header on Saturday? Were you able to catch all 3 games?
Well, there was a little bit of a hiccup in that middle game. I'm not sure if you remember, but at least for a number of years now, TSN has been promoting themselves as showing every game in the CFL from the week 1 right through to the Grey Cup. Now, I saw that they were going to put that Banjo Bowl on CTV, and I thought, okay, well, good. They put it on their Mother Corp channel to get more of a national audience for a big game. I didn't really think too much of it. I also did notice that the timing was messed up. To have a triple header like that, the game should start at 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. The Bombers game was at noon, and I couldn't figure out why. I still haven't figured out why. What I was most choked about is that TSN and their 5 different channels, not one of them picked up the game. And on one of them, they were showing reruns of Sports Center, for crying out loud. Like on TSN 1, they put on the U.S. Open men's final. Fair enough, that sounds like a big deal. But slap the Bombers game on TSN 3, for crying out loud. And me, I don't have regular cable. I only have a TSN package that I bought to watch all the CFL games. And then they hung me out to dry on this Banjo Bowl. Unbelievable.
It was a big news story at the beginning of the year that CTV was going to have a regular season game on their network. But you're right, kind of expected it to be in conjunction with the TSN broadcast, not in lieu of.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have hurt them. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've done stuff like that before. Man, they better not pull that crap off at Grey Cup or I'm going to be screwed.
Maybe have a plan B prepared for Grey Cup.
Plan B will be running to a pub and trying to convince them to put the game on.
Getting to the game itself, Winnipeg, they look pretty good. I mean, they were down at the bottom of the West, and now all of a sudden they're in the lead for a second week in a row.
Yeah, well, they made a good comeback. I said when they started 0-4, I knew O'Shea would get his group together, and he certainly has. In the CFL, it's all about streaks, and especially in the last couple of months where we are right now. The record doesn't matter too much when you hit the playoffs. It's the hottest team that takes the championship, usually.
Another streak that I think we're right in the midst of is Calgary. They do not look good. They look like the Hamilton of the West.
I feel bad for Dickinson. He looks frustrated, and I'm not really sure. Maybe he doesn't have the horses, no pun intended.
It doesn't look like he has a quarterback, that's for certain.
Mm-hmm.
I think about that game with my 1-3 record because I kind of lost sight of the goal here. I was so focused on getting a bit of a gap and more distance on you that I flipped my pick and went with Calgary. In hindsight, that was completely the wrong thing to do, and I got to stay focused here. The good news is this week, heading into week 15, no matter what you do, I'm going to finish ahead of you because there's only 3 games.
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable that, nearly half of the league's just not playing.
You're better at math than I am, but I mean, if you figure you got 9 teams and everyone plays 18 times, every single week can't be 4 games. I guess it just doesn't work out that way. And so we have the odd week where there's only 3 games. I remember that from last year as well.
So this week, the mediocre Saskatchewan Roughriders, they're taking the week off.
Mm-hmm.
Winnipeg's getting some rest. They're going to take a week off.
And so is Edmonton.
Going into week 15, game 1, we got Toronto coming to BC.
Mm-hmm.
BC's down 4.5. They're the favorites here. What do you think?
Well, they looked so good against Montreal last week. I can't imagine they're not going to be able to beat that 4.5 spread. And even though I'm wearing double blue, I'm going full on Lions in that Friday night football game.
Yeah, they seem to be rolling. I don't know what's going on in Toronto. Chad Kelly, maybe he's impacting the locker room, but they look terrible.
It's easy to say that he might be screwing it up, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, if you added one of the best players in the league back to your team, it shouldn't derail you like this. But they look awful. They do look worse now than before Kelly came back. I'm not sure how they're going to right that ship.
If he keeps sailing passes, maybe Dukes comes in and finishes off the game, especially if BC has got a big lead.
Yep.
BC looks good. I'm expecting an easy win.
Those Eastern teams, they hate flying out to the West Coast and playing these 7 o'clock starts. For them, their body clocks are still on East Coast time. Game starts around at 10 o'clock at night and ends at 1 o'clock in the morning. Montreal used to bitch about that all the time. I haven't really heard too much of it from Toronto or Ottawa, but it's the same story. At least in the past, Montreal's complained that their team is too lethargic. Another reason why BC is going to probably pound the boatmen.
Go BC, hashtag rolling.
Yeah.
I'm going to mix it up a little bit for day 2 of week 15, because I think of the 3 games, both of us are on the same side of each bet. I'm going to jump forward and I'm going to look at Montreal heading into Calgary. Montreal's down 4.5. Just talked about Calgary and how terrible they seem, and I'm going to go Montreal in this game. I think it's obviously a bounce back and they're going to come out pumped, even if they are a little tired flying across the country.
Yeah, and it's not a late start either, so they won't have too much to complain about. I got Montreal as being 5.5 point favorites.
Oh, even better.
Well, no, it's not better. They got to cover 5.5 instead of 4.5. Even with the 5.5, I'm still taking Montreal. Calgary looks horrible, and Montreal, like I said, Montreal's going to have a bounce back game. They're going to be fired up and ready to go. They'll probably clear that spread in the first quarter.
Yeah, I think so. They could be 20.5, and I think they'll still clear the spread.
Could be, yeah.
This game seems super lopsided.
Yeah, it does. And I think the BC game is going to be lopsided. And the Ottawa game could be as well. We could be looking at 3 blowouts this week. Yeah, we got kind of the 3 worst teams in the league. Toronto, Hamilton, and Calgary. It's easy to say all 3 of those teams are going to lose. They're only making us give up 4.5 points in those first 2 games, 5.5 in the Montreal game. We cruised over that Ottawa game, but I think I kind of told you all, kind of lent my hand to where I'm going with that. And you're doing the same thing.
No, I'm not.
I'm taking Ottawa to clear the 4.5 points at Hamilton. Are you taking your tabbies again?
Yeah, I am. And that's the game that I thought we'd differ on. I figured for sure we're both going BC and Montreal. And game 2, week 15's got Ottawa heading into Hamilton. Hamilton's coming off that impressive win on Labor Day, but it's not Labor Day.
The tabbies looked really good last week. Ottawa's looking... They've impressed the heck out of me this year. I like them to clear that 4.5 points. And you're going to go with it. You're putting your hopes in those tabbies once again, hey?
But I think Ottawa's going to win.
Oh, okay.
But I just don't think they're going to win by more than 4.5 and clear. So yeah, I'm going to say tabbies. Tabbies for the tiny loss.
Gutsy call.
If Ottawa does win, like outright, they're kind of nipping at Montreal's heels. There could be a bit of a battle towards the end of the season for that Eastern Division leader.
Yeah, if Ottawa keeps going, we should have checked the schedule to see when Ottawa plays Montreal again. That's going to be a hell of a game. Hopefully they're not 3 blowouts this week.
Did you catch any NFL on opening weekend?
A bit, yeah. Saw some of the Seahawks game just the afternoon. Love those retro uniforms from the 90s. That's awesome. But I didn't see too much. Again, I only have the TSN package, so I'm at the mercy of whatever they're going to show us. What I wanted to see how Tom Brady looked in the broadcasting booth. Did you ever happen to check out that? I think he was doing the Dallas game.
He was, yeah. I listened to it a bit. He sounds like a new broadcaster, kind of like you and I.
Well, you're new.
Yeah. He wasn't terrible. Just a little awkward, a little clunky. It's difficult because when you're thinking about what you want to say instead of just saying what you're thinking.
All right, man. I think that's a wrap.
I think that is a wrap. If you want to write the show, you can at placedon the55pod@gmail.com. Another exciting BC game to look forward to in week 15, Jess. We'll talk to you later.
You got it.